Hi, this is Penny Hall, and I want to share with you today why I quit setting goals. Okay, so it's the beginning of the year, and you decide that, oh, everyone says I should be setting goals for this new year, especially those of us who have a business. We're being encouraged to do that. Well, let me tell you what would always happen to me. Okay, so I would sit down and start to write my list by pulling out my old list and notice just how many of those things I didn't get done and didn't work. And then I would start feeling really, really, really bad about the fact that I hadn't achieved those goals. So I would sit there and make a few little changes in it, and then it was done. So here's some reasons why I think that is a bad idea, okay? First of all, I would set the goals because I thought I should do it. Deep down, I knew that every time I set goals and I don't achieve them, I feel terrible because I'm trying to do something that I think is expected of me. So I was thinking that I needed to do this. It wasn't coming necessarily from my own inner desires. It was coming from this is what is expected. And so, of course, the next thought that comes to me is, oh my gosh, I've never done this. I don't know why I think I will do it again. So I'm constantly negating any possibility of actually getting there. The other thing that would happen to me is I would look at it and really struggle with it and struggle with myself as I tried to achieve the goals, and then look at how horrible everything in my life was, and all I could see was how bad things were. All I could do is tell myself how horrible I was because I wasn't making progress. I wasn't doing it because I've always been an overachiever. So I think that I can just set this goal and oh my gosh, I can rush, and it's all going to happen just like that. Well, it doesn't exactly work that way. So all I was doing is digging a deeper hole. I was feeling worse and worse and worse about myself. The other interesting thing that I would do is I would set the goal from a place of fear. Fear that things would never get any better than this. It's never going to change. I'm never going to improve at all. And if I don't do it, oh my gosh, this is going to get worse. It's been getting worse and worse and worse, and it's not going to get any better. I'm going to get sicker than I've ever been. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Whatever those things are that run around in your head, if you're focused on all of that and you're coming at it from a place of total fear where all you can do is focus on the past or the future, then guess what? You are not able to do anything in the present moment. So here are the things that I've learned, and here's what I've changed, and this is why things have gotten so much better for me when I stopped setting goals that way. The first thing that I started to do was recognize that the only reason I really wanted to change something in my life was because I wanted to feel better. I really wanted to feel better. And everything I was doing was making me feel worse. So I had to figure out what was it that I was doing that was making me feel so bad. Well, the truth of the matter is that anytime we really want to improve something, that really is a desire. That desire is coming from inside of us. It's our spirit telling us that we deserve better, but we haven't been willing to give ourselves that because we keep thinking thoughts that don't support it. we keep taking actions that don't support it. And in the process of doing all of that, we believe that we don't deserve it, and it's not ever going to happen. And so we're not doing anything. We're keeping ourselves in the past or the future, and we're not keeping ourselves in the present. We're not recognizing that it is coming from us and that we can make a change. We're not paying attention to how we're feeling. You see, the thing I learned was my thoughts, my words, my actions cause me to generate certain feelings. And if I can pay attention to those feelings, I want to feel good, right? That's really what we want. We want to be happy. We want to feel good. So if that's what we really want, what can we do to change that, right? So I began to watch my thoughts and correct them. There were lots of different ways that I did it. Affirmations were part of that, and I think they're a really powerful tool to help with that, because an affirmation, if it's done correctly, comes from a place of power and not a place of longing. So if you know that what you're wanting to change is absolutely true of who you are, that it lines up with your spirit and your heart's desire, even though you can't see evidence of it right at the moment in your present, you're changing and negating the negative thoughts, the negative patterns that you have. So I spent a lot of time working with my thoughts, noticing how they were going. I also noticed what words were coming out of my mouth. And that's where the affirmations got really strong, because I would listen to what I was saying, and the things I was saying was supporting what I didn't want. And so I began to change the words to the opposite. When I would notice that they were things that I didn't want, I would shift them around to what I did want. And the other thing I did was I finally took action. I let go of the uncomfortableness that fear would grip me with. And I started actually taking action. I actually started making a big shift. One of the things that really, really made a difference for me was when I went through those of you that know me know that I have had a lot of eye surgeries and shifts in my vision and my sight. And so I had to face the actual reality after my last surgery of the way things are that I didn't want to face. And I had to go ahead and begin to learn how to function with less with my eyes and more with other things that could help and support me. So this was a big adjustment for me to actually face that. So the fear wanted to keep me from doing it. One of the things that was part of that was learning to use a white cane. So this was a big thing for me, because in my mind, it was like the iconic symbol of blindness. And I didn't want my mind to believe that I was totally blind. And I was resisting the whole thing of, this is part of who I am. This is part of my journey. This is what's been going on. And I tried a lot to hide it, even from myself. So the idea of accepting this as a tool was difficult for me. But you know what? When I made the decision that it was in my best interest to do whatever was being recommended to me that would help me, the key here is help and assist me, and I let myself step through my resistance, my fears, all that stuff, and actually got involved in learning how to use new tools, new things that were not normal for me, were not comfortable for me. Wrapped inside of all of that was this wonderful understanding that if I stop letting fear hold me in its grip, if I stopped worrying about the future and stop feeling bad about the past and noticing all the things that I didn't want in my life, and started noticing all the good things, all the great ways that I could work around all the things that I viewed as big obstacles, all the things that I felt like were all the reasons why I couldn't be successful in my business like somebody else, because I had this challenge that kept me from being able to do the driving that I wanted to go and support my people out. I just had all these reasons that had nothing to do with anything other than keeping me from shining my light, keeping me from being happy and joyful, and keeping me from being in the present moment as a happy, joyful person who is contributing to her own life, her own well-being, her own health, her own goodness, her own beauty, her own magnificence. And when I started doing that, I can't tell you how everything in my life began to change. My business began to change. My relationships began to change. My finances began to change. All my physical health began to get extremely better. Things started showing up in my life that I wanted, and they were all here to support me. And for the first time, I cared enough to do the little things every day to shift my thoughts, my words, my actions, so that I lined up totally with my desire to honor and support who I really am, and my perfection and my majesty, and the contribution of just being myself could actually have an effect on all those around us. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when your energy isn't flowing, when you're focused on negative things, when you're unhappy, it affects those around you. And that's why we're always wanting to feel better and be happier. And when we're feeling better and we're happier, people around us want to be around us. They want to see what it is that's going on with us. They love that. They're so excited to participate because that energy affects them in a positive way. So my wish for you is that if those are the ways that you used to set your goals, perhaps by listening to a little bit of my story here, that you'll begin to look at your goals a little differently and maybe stop setting the goals and really start digging in with your own spirit and finding ways every single day to get in touch with your heart's desire and notice the ways every day that the way you're thinking, speaking, and acting are causing you to feel miserable instead of allowing you to feel joyful and happy and fulfilled. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a very blessed day.